We may not be the only news reporting on GamerGate 2.0, but we are in the trenches in 60 seconds.
This is the W2 Report with Sanji Homura. Here's Sanji.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the W2 Report. I am your host, Sanji Homura. Today, we take a look at the battle lines between the gamers and the media in GamerGate 2.0. But first, we go over the ground rules with Lord Crocker Squirrel as always.
Rule number 1, be not the dick. Rule number 2, if you think you might be the dick, please refer to rule number 1. Do not contact anybody we've ragged on today or any other day. And if you do contact them, try not to be stupid. Don't make the rest of us look bad.
Joining us as our third man in the ring, we have Mr. Thomas.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day for a neighbor. Hello, neighbor. Welcome to my neighborhood. Can you say GamerGate 2? I knew you could.
Joining us as our former child, Mr. Vaughn.
It's a real honor to be on this podcast because it really does count towards my community service. So I'm very happy with that. Just giving back, to the community.
Yeah, we got a Grim Gary in the chat.
Very true.
Absolutely. Hello, Grim Gary.
All right.
And joining us, as always, we have Mr. Lingren.
Yeah, I'd be saying the same thing too about community service, except I am also mentally disabled.
Yeah.
And you're on parole as well.
Hey, Vaughn.
Yes.
Behind you. Crack a squirrel.
Oh, no. A distraction.
Watch it. She's going to bite your legs off.
Well, that's what I'm into.
Today we have battle lines being drawn between media
again,
and the gamers on the other side again. But this time we have a lot more than the media and the gamers and the developers and the gamers. We actually have governments involved this time. But more on that later, as today's meme suggests.
We're just not buying their shit games. Hell, I covered Saints Row 2023 here not too terribly long ago. And that's only because it was part of a bundle that I pick up monthly anyway.
And you loved it, right?
Well, I figure it this way. The publishers got like a quarter of the about $12 I paid for it. So let's see, $4 split between 8 games. That's about 50 cents for a game they sold for $60.
Now
so it's not your fault. You're the reason it was financially successful.
No, I wasn't.
I think that makes it at this point, doesn't it? Like, you're an investor.
Okay, first on the list, we circled back to last time we talked GamerGate 2.0, and we're going to talk about a one Kim Belair.
Fresh
in case
Prince.
yes. In case you were wondering, Kim Belair is the CEO of Sweet Baby Inc. And in case you were wondering,
Which they probably weren't.
in case you were wondering why we're bringing up Miss Belair again, well, she kind of has a freaking ego trip. In 2018, when she established Sweet Baby Inc., Belair admitted at the time she said, quote, "And basically, I think to take over in hopes that some really dope people will be able to lead into a new kind of era for an industry that's been kind of, the same way too long."
What and now how the hell is she supposed to determine that? Is there a quantification for that? Is there like a published article that says this? Where is the science on that, woman?
Well, to be honest with you, this woman thinks she can freaking take over the entire industry.
And that's not right. That's Anita's job.
You got to admire the aspiration there, at least.
Well, you know what? Anita bowed out. They shut down Feminist Frequency because they weren't getting enough donos.
Yeah.
I mean, Belair would later deploy her Terrify tactic and use game journalist Bryant Francis at Game Developer to launch her own cancel campaign against Cabrutus Rambo and his Steam curator list.
What a guy.
And
it's not a harassment campaign when we do it.
Yeah, I know, right? What's up with that?
Look, we're not very scary or anything.
I've upgraded to GamerGate 2.1 and I still have lockup issues. I checked all my drivers, not sure what they are.
Maybe
You know what? I'm going to star that because I'm going to post that during the ending. Francis detailed the conversation she had with Belair. Belair admitted that she isn't entirely sure how Valve or Discord would remedy the situation, i.e., resolve it in her favor. She and her colleagues at Sweet Baby Inc. are experts in online moderation. They're writers. Their job is to create fictional problems in video games, not solve real ones. She urged Valve and Discord to recognize that harassment campaigns are continually evolving and that communication problems need to keep pace
I think that's platforms.
with how they are being used to spread hate. Excuse me?
Excuse me, yes.
Excuse me?
Here's the thing. All we have to do to shut them up at this point is not buy their crap games. We look at the curators that are covering this now. We say, okay, you found these things in this game. Fuck it, we're done.
No, it doesn't shut them up. Now it's your fault that the games aren't successful.
That's not their games being unsuccessful is not my problem.
I'm just saying it's not shutting them up because they just invent things to complain about.
Well, they always have. But you see, if we hit them hard enough in the wallet, the publishers at least will wake up.
Some of them.
They will use every little tirade for those who are against them to burn more witches. Yeah, no. That's the same thing they did in the original GamerGate. The thing is, they can't just claim we're attacking women because, well, we're not. We're attacking the games themselves.
Now that's assuming but are we assuming the game's gender?
It doesn't matter.
I mean, it's very
It
fitting.
does
He used,
matter.
it's very fitting he used the word witches because in the background she's got skulls and things. It's very witch-like, I would say. There's only one way to prove it, though: burn her at the stake.
Yeah. If she catches fire, she's a witch.
Yeah.
If she
weighs
just
a-
blows,
She's
then
wood.
she's innocent. Oh, anyway,
There's a lot at stake here.
this is
Heyo.
this is getting rather morbid rather quickly.
And
Yes,
that
Bel-
Joan of
yes,
Arc
let-
reference.
And yes, I know there are some. I know we have idiots on our side, and they're almost all idiots on that side. But
Yeah. I mean, we are some of those idiots, to be fair.
Yeah, we are those. We are at least 5 of those wild guns.
Yeah. Exhibits A to G.
Hey, Raz.
I'm C for Crockett Squirrel or Chimera.
And I'm D for Tom. Or
I don't think that quite works in the alphabet.
Belair.
Close enough.
Okay. Let's continue. Belair informed Francis it's clear that some kind of evolution is needed because this will only get bigger, and I don't mean for us. She added, if this playbook can go work as well as now as it did 10 years ago with Gamergate, it's going to keep working in certain ways, and they will find something bigger and worse to do than this.
I feel like she's got nothing to do with her time except for just spin these little tales.
Yeah,
It'll help if they evolve thicker skin.
See, 10 years ago, we were giving them shit because the game journalists had no ethics of any kind. And in fact, at that point, become incredibly incestuous.
Yeah.
And yes, you can quote me on that. See,
Fast forward 10 years later, they're still incestuous, and they had 2 little kids.
I was going to say that this is going to be my Dennis Miller obscure reference of the day. I said they're more incestuous than the family from The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh, ow. Which one? 1 or 2? Because this was true of both of them.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I understand the point. I understand access journalism. I have to deal with it myself. Okay, but I can still produce my own opinions, regardless of what happens.
Yes.
And yeah, I've got a couple of publishers that really don't like me anymore. I've said some things about some games that went east and then up.
I'm with you there.
It seems like they went as far up as they did east.
I'm with you there, Squirrel. I'm very good at formulating my own opinions, says Von, exit stage left.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
But these so-called well, they're actually just blogs. They're multi-person blogs. They have they've decided that 7 is an average game. It's not. 5 should be about the average. And I've seen some really good games in the last few years. I've seen some really bad games in the last few years. And I've seen games whose developer should be committing seppuku just for thinking of it.
Suicide Squad.
Gollum.
Suicide
Quest.
Squad, the entire that entire universe should be working the whole seppuku range right about now. Mind you, I have not played that game. I have no intention at this point of doing so.
Well, you don't really
those
play
guys
it, you just
especially don't
grind
like
it.
me. Those guys especially don't like me.
Oh,
They
they
really don't.
especially won't like us after today.
Oh no, I was hoping to get sponsored.
Yeah, that's never going to happen.
Ah,
We're-
damn it.
We're way too small.
A, we're way too small, and B, we're way too pro gamer for that.
We don't toe the line enough.
Watch out for the claws on that. Because I'll tell you, they're mean.
Francis then made it clear: Belair and company want the Steam curator list shut down.
Which is never going to happen.
Yeah.
That is actually that in and of itself is protected speech, and they're not. Valve has looked at it and gone, "Nah, there's not a problem here." Even if there were a problem, so many people have reported that they're just going to go, "Oh, somebody else is bitching about those guys." Yeet. See, that's what happens when you misuse the reporting system. You know, you become the little boy who cried wolf a bunch too many times.
Now, this isn't the reason why we're talking about this particular article.
So do tell.
Richie De Wit, and I don't give a damn if I'm pronouncing his name right or not.
You're not. It should be Witness.
Ooh.
Has become a very, very naughty boy in recent days.
Oh my.
He made a tweet threatening the careers of everybody who speaks out against DEI policies in video games.
And more specifically against Sweet Baby Inc.
Here is his tweet in full. I've been seeing more and more hateful GamerGate-esque opinions. I want to be clear on where I stand. I won't tolerate any harassment, violence, or threats towards devs, minorities, and women in our industry in any space that I own or have control over. Yeah, good luck with that, Richie.
Yeah. And it is, and he lists it De Wit. It's actually De Witless.
Yeah,
I don't care. Yeah, go on.
Never before has there been a more appropriate name for someone like this as Richard, because he's definitely a dick.
Yep, Dick De Witless. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, he's made it clear that it is his job to do the harassment of his employees.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He goes on to say, I don't care about your opinions and won't go into discussions with you. I am not interested in explaining to you how little you know about the workings of our industry, and I will report and block your account immediately. And if by chance you happen to be working in this industry and you are voicing said opinions, I will screenshot you and put you on a person list and advocate you never work at a company I work for or associate with.
Oh no, he's throwing the toys out the pram.
Respect the authority. I've been part of the industry for a long ass time, and I'll tell you now, this sort of shit is this kind of shit is, one, way too common, and B, way too unwelcome.
I think he's actually fine though, because he put cheers at the end. That means he's all right in my books.
Yeah, no,
What a good guy.
dude's an idiot.
So here's a question: have we ever seen this person in Sui Park at the same place at the same time? Because they're using the same damn argument.
Yeah, well, Yoko Ono too.
No, with Yoko Ono, we'd be that kind of
Our ears
stuff would
would be
already be broken
bleeding.
up.
Damn,
I mean-
is it 626 already?
Well, it's yeah. I don't know. Okay. Now we get to the video portion of our program.
Yay.
Ooh, we have a video.
Yeah, we have video.
Is it MP4?
Yeah, it's MP4.
Woo,
Not to be
multimedia.
confused with the DC-5.
Ooh. Or the Jackson 5?
Yeah, definitely have Jackson 5, but it's MP4 Cubs too.
Ah.
All right. There's this certain game studio by the name of Cliffhanger Games. They're currently developing a game called Marvel's Black Panther for Electronic Arts.
Wakanda forever.
They have 21 developers working on that game.
That seems a little small.
Can you guess how many of them are white?
None. Zero. Zip zilch. They are the most diverse because everybody there is black.
Well, that's not necessarily true. I did hear that Aaron talked with Sean King.
Okay,
Well-
no, they are not in talks
Yeah,
with
so
Malcolm
completely
X.
black still.
At this point, that squirrel realized he missed the joke.
It's a tricky one, though. I mean, obviously, I have to see the video first, but I don't know. I feel like there could be an argument for this.
Well, let's roll that beautiful bean footage.
I have a team of 21 right now for Validate. It's a pretty big team. It's a crazy big team for indie games. But who is your team? Validate has a team of mostly all people of color. We have no white people on our team. I did that because I wanted to create a safe environment. And I know the best way for an environment to be safe is to be around people who are just like me. And I'm not saying that white people in the industry are creating unsafe environments. I'm not saying that. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying that sometimes it is hard to work with white people because they think that something may be okay, but it was really a microaggression. And no one wants to deal with that while they're trying to make a game that they love.
I actually do understand. I get what she's saying, if that makes sense. I think I'm sort of on her side in this. But I mean, I know that sounds bad.
There is
but I
a
get
major
it.
problem with that statement.
What's the problem,
did-
Sanji?
Okay. In the U.S., there is a law called the Equal Opportunity Employment Code.
Yep. EEOC.
Yeah, the only problem is the law on the books that says she specifically cannot do that.
Yes. She cannot do that.
True.
Because
If I were every white male developer, and I'm
Lawsuit.
using lawsuit yesterday, and I'd like to thank Libs of TikTok for providing that video.
Yeah, it's a real tough one though, because I get why, it's a touchy subject. It's really sensitive.
Yeah, it's
And
touchy. It's touchy. I agree. But on the other hand,
Yeah.
though, she has to follow the law.
Yep.
And
Yeah, of course,
and
it's
this-
like,
well-
then for me, it's just, there's also the opposite side of like, why would white programmers want to work there?
That's another
mean,
fair point.
I mean,
Yeah.
EA, the ball's in your freaking court.
Yeah.
But I guess in the past there haven't
This
been those
is your-
opportunities.
This is your project that you
And
have,
therefore your problem.
and your problem.
I will say though, in the past, there haven't always been those opportunities for Black and POC developers and programmers. So maybe I get that it's breaking the law. I get that. I 100% get that. But at the same time, I sort of get it. Like I totally get why she's doing it the way she's doing it, and
Well, we don't doubt you there, Vaughn. But honestly, for the overwhelming majority of critters, that shit ended a long time ago. 30 or more years ago. Because the game industry, at least until relatively recently, has been about merit. That ended a few years ago when everybody started pushing for more representation, and then more representation turned into get the fuck out of my space. Because we had female protagonists, female playable characters all the way back to the Nintendo Entertainment System. And I'll give bonus points for anybody who could tell me who that was.
Lara Croft.
Wait, besides Samus?
Samus Aran.
Aside from who?
Samus.
Yeah, Samus Aran.
What about Princess Peach in the Donkey Kong game?
Actually, no. We go a little bit further.
Princess Peach in Mario 2.
Nope, not her either. Actually, the game you're looking for is on the Master System. It's called Phantasy Star.
Is it Mrs. Game & Watch?
Oh, Phantasy Star.
The Master System had Phantasy Star, which starred, funnily enough, a character called Alice.
Oh. What about Miss Pac-Man?
Ah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how people would count her actually, but fair enough.
Well, we have clowns.
Granted, it is a bit of a circular argument.
Well, we have clowns to the left of me. And now we have
Jokers.
jokers on the right with Matt Walsh.
Yes.
Oh.
Good old Matt.
What a stupid first name.
And
Sorry, I was just saying that because that's also my first name.
Actually, before we move on to Matt Walsh, I want to call your attention to the lady that was in charge of Sierra Online from its inception. Her name was Roberta, and she's the one that designed and did most of the core programming work for the King's Quest series.
okay.
And several other series with the word quest in the name. Okay, and then now at this point we're talking about the 1980s. Think about that for 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a bigger Sierra hero for me has always been Laurie Cole, creator of the Quest for Glory series.
Yeah. But King's Quest, Police Quest, one more series that escapes the mind at the moment, were Roberta Williams. At least I think she was in charge of Police Quest. Anyway, Sierra Online did a lot of. They hired anybody. They hired any type of person that could do the fracking job, as opposed to wondering whether or not that individual was a uterus or what their skin color was. The fun part of it is that today, women don't want to work in the industry. They don't want to be coddled.
They're just not interested.
Even if they are interested, they don't want to be coddled, treated like dolls, or have their mistakes excused because they's women's. You know, the bigotry of low expectations. Again, any company should hire the person that's competent over the person that ticks the boxes.
Right.
And we got way too much box ticking running around. Hell, if I remember correctly, Vaughn, perhaps you can correct me on this. Several agencies, including the BBC, there in England, were putting up job notices with white applicants need not apply or something similar.
Oh, I know what you're referring to. Not the BBC though. It was a very, very much lesser station, which has since shut down. Because that was bad.
I could have sworn Sargon said it was the BBC. The BBC
not,
had done that too.
It was not the BBC, I'm afraid. No. Oh, there was another thing. It was kind of unrelated, but it was it was for a BBC show specializing in, I think it was Ramadan. And it was just for that one show though. It wasn't for like a whole thing. So I think in that case, I totally get it. Like,
well, that would be a case where I would get it. Casting Anne Boleyn as a black woman was a bit much, though.
Oh damn!
Of course, it's like they say white applicants need not apply, but it always ends up just being white guys running it and hiring other white guys anyway.
To be fair, I mean it said white guys need not apply for this show, and I applied anyway. But
if you're talking about something
that's why they went out of business.
That has cultural significance, Ramadan, for example, you want people who would actually know something about these things, and therefore, okay, I'm completely down with that. But realizing that the version of the instance of Cleopatra people were bitching about, that had to be black, could not have been. She was Greek. Anne Boleyn, definitely not black. And then there was another recent one where someone said, well, why did you have this black guy in there that died like 2 centuries earlier?
I don't know.
Yeah, everyone
there were black samurai. Hey, yeah, don't count on that. They admit that there was a black guy that once held a rank, a combat rank. Doesn't mean he was a samurai. And even if it did, if he's been dead 2 centuries, and there hasn't been another one, and there is no evidence that there was, why are you screaming about it?
Well, yeah. I mean, how do they know he didn't come back from the dead? It's very possible these days.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think his problem was escaping Yomi.
Was it
the
seppuku?
But
the Japanese are happy to pick with something when that's what's going on.
But I happen to have
But they will only admit to one of those.
I happen to have the original book you're referring to, Squirrel, on that one.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. No mention of it.
No mention of a black samurai in that mess. Okay, so what? If there's no mention of it in the source material, you don't put it in because.
Exactly.
Okay, turning the Little Mermaid black, considering that she was conceived, produced, and originally acted in Denmark, where there were no black people at that time. None. Well, the first black people to come to the UK, they were there as indentured servants for a period of 5 years.
Granted, with the Little Mermaid, it's like Walt Disney had already bastardized the story anyway.
Yeah, well, that's not the. I'm not letting them get away with it either.
Wait, hang on. It's Little Mermaid. Yeah, that's non-fiction, right? That
No. It was a fantasy story. It was a complete fantasy that Hans Christian Andersen wrote to get the attention of a woman he was really down with. He wanted that one to bear all of his children.
Wow. Well.
And so he actually managed to cast her. He actually managed to cast her in that role.
I see.
And then she drowned herself.
No.
Or I don't know what happened.
Now that's method acting.
No, but I don't. I don't remember whether Hans got what he wanted or not. I don't think he did.
Yeah, I don't think he quite shagged a mermaid, unfortunately.
Yeah, and oddly enough, she actually died because she was caught in a tuna net.
I knew something fishy was going to happen.
Okay. Besides,
back.
there aren't really tuna out there. But
Okay, back.
The place you go for tuna.
Okay, back to Matt Walsh. Let's roll.
I'm with that Walsh and his bad self.
Sanjay,
Okay,
you sound like a substitute teacher.
Let's roll that beautiful beaten footage.
Is that the video game industry, without a lot of fanfare, has transformed into a tool of both propaganda and surveillance. It's an effective way to indoctrinate children precisely because it hasn't received much attention, and also because children spend, many of them, hundreds of hours a year, and that might be an undercount, a severe undercount, with this kind of content. So it should get a lot of our attention. And now finally that attention is here. And it's yet another reason to keep these games as far away from your children as possible. And if you do that, games journalists, literally the lowest form of journalists on the planet, will accuse you of harassment. And that's exactly how you'll know that you're doing the right thing. Now let's get to our 5 headlines.
Okay, first off, Matt's an ass. We already knew that Matt's an ass, and the big grift at this point is people on the right that have jumped in now that it looks like there's a chance for the gamers in general to actually win this thing.
It sounds like he spends way too much time with children.
Yeah, well, honestly, I don't let my kids spend 3 days at a stretch in the video games. Give them an hour or two and then take it away.
Yeah, I'm just going to make a point here.
Yeah.
There are only 2 people in the world that I trust who play the banjo. One of them is Roy Clark. The other one is Steve Martin.
What about
Matt Walsh is neither one.
Well, Matt Walsh is his own pack of problems. For example, the really lousy hair dye he used.
I couldn't get over how much he looked like Colin Farrell in that clip. I don't know. There's something about him. The eyes and eyebrows, I think.
I don't know, but yeah, his solution to everything is get away from the video games and stay there. Okay, that now not only if you swatted a fly with a tack nuke, but you threw the baby out with the bathwater, which then got nuked.
That might have been the plan.
Yeah,
after
and besides, video games can teach useful life skills to children, like how to get your money back from a prostitute.
I also learned cooking mama. Does that count?
Susie's.
Yeah, we don't necessarily need the Grand Theft Auto approach.
And by the way, there go all of our prostitute listeners.
It's a hard life, man.
Yeah,
And
well,
there goes
you're
our
not
monetization
paying them for the service they rendered. You're paying them to go away and stay there.
They've already been replaced by others anyway. I wouldn't worry about it.
That's right.
Now, would you believe me if I told you that there was a network of researchers?
I wouldn't believe you, Sanji. No, I absolutely wouldn't. A network of researchers? You're out of your mind.
Stand by, Vaughn.
That's just a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, not a chance.
Well, I'll put it this way. At least we know that network isn't MSNBC.
Oh, very true.
All right, let the man talk.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sanji. I'm sorry.
There was a network of researchers that had grants given to them by governments such as the United States government, the Canadian government, the UK government, and even as high up as the United Nations.
Yes, I would believe you, Sanji.
Especially on the stupidity of the United Nations, but carry on.
Well, according to The Intercept, the feds are coming for the extremist gamers.
Run.
Well,
Run.
guess what? They're gonna have problems with that, because you can actually make an argument before the court that they don't have a particular definition of an extremist, and they don't. The only bill / law that they have that they could make this work would be the one that they were just working on passing, which pretty much covers everybody on the planet, and that is most decidedly
broad,
not constitutional.
Oh, and there's also another group that's getting involved in this, the Anti-Defamation League.
Oh yes, we will circle back to them in a minute.
All right,
we'll get to them in a minute. Why are we? We don't need to circle back. Trust me, because we haven't actually gotten there yet. So, man.
All I can say to the feds is welcome back to 1990, because everybody's extreme.
So cool. That's a really good Hulk
Actually,
Hogan,
what they're doing right now is they're channeling the corpse of J. Edgar Hoover, because that's the sort of shit he pulled.
Damn.
Let's read the article, shall we?
Well,
gaming companies are coordinating with the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security to root out so-called domestic violent extremist content, according to a new government report.
Define each. You know what? I know all of those words. I know what they mean, but putting those three words together just makes no fucking sense. Is that in fact English, or is that that magic language everybody calls buzzword?
Which three words? Is it coordinating with the, or is it the other one?
Domestic violent extremist.
Oh.
Okay. Domestic.
That's my dating profile.
Violence extremist. I get that, but domestic violence extremists.
I think that makes sense. It's like home violence, which is extreme.
Grammatically, it's all over the place, and you and I both know that, Juan.
Yeah, but grammatically, we are all over the place.
And also, police are extreme domestic violence.
Depends on when, where, and what people were doing.
Domestic
and
violence,
Anubis
probably.
is wondering what the hell we just walked into.
Yup.
Extremism.
And that's
not
what
just
we
extremism,
support.
it's extreme extremism.
Yeah. Totally radical extremism.
And today's episode is sponsored by domestic violence.
No. Play nice, Vaughn.
It's very hard hitting, I guess.
Oh,
Nice,
No,
Vaughn.
Vaughn's nice. It's just his girlfriend that isn't.
Oh,
Don't
Don't
give
go there.
anybody a reason to be
that was the old one. Don't
mean to
worry.
us.
Not the new one.
Please.
Noting that
Management of the-
mechanisms have been in place established with social media companies to police extremism, the report recommends that the national security agencies establish new and similar processes with the vast gaming industries.
Yeah.
No.
That's not going to happen. They're not going to go after EA or Activision because they can fight back.
The exact nature of the cooperation between the federal agencies and the video game companies, which has not been previously reported, is detailed in a new Government Accountability Office report. The report draws on interviews conducted with 5 gaming and social media companies, including Roblox, an online gaming platform, Discord, a social media app commonly used by gamers, Reddit, a video game, as well as a video game publisher and social media company that asked the GAO to remain anonymous. The Intercept reached out to companies identified in the GAO report for comment, but none responded.
Of course not, because
Of
they
course
want
not.
to keep this shit quiet as much as humanly possible, and because they know that sunlight is the best disinfectant. And the last thing the GAO wants is a whole bunch of folks up in their ass.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Department of Homeland Security have mechanisms to share and receive domestic violent extremism threat-related information with social media gaming and gaming companies, the GAO says. The report reveals that the DHS Intelligence Office meets with gaming companies and that the companies can use these meetings to share information with IA, the DHS Intelligence Office, about online activities promoting domestic violent extremism, or even simply activities that violate the company's terms of service.
Okay, you see, there's the thing. You're looking at the terms of service, which is worded so vaguely that they could nail anybody.
They'll nail anybody for anything.
Everybody in the ass, and we'd all go to prison.
Yay.
Yeah, that's the point. It's working as intended.
There is a whole pile of stupid involved there.
Of course, I can't also help but think that Roblox is one of the wrong companies to ask about extremism, because I'm pretty certain that they refuse to monitor their in-game chat.
Well, that's the thing. They even had back in the day of Roblox, they used to have 9/11 simulator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fairly sure I played it.
Also note that Roblox is primarily used by 12-year-olds who we all know are fucking hooting dickholes.
Yes.
Yeah.
As a former 12-year-old.
Extreme edgelords.
Okay. We're a bunch of hooting dickholes. And as a result, they're going to be after a whole bunch of kids ranging from, 9 all the way to about 15. Okay. And at 9, they can't charge them with shit. At 12, it's iffy. Depends on the state. At 15, yeah, they can charge them with stuff. But you got to realize these are kids. And the worse the punishment that you would want to place upon them is not jail time. It is, I've got all your Robux. You can't have them anymore. In fact, you can't even come on my service anymore. Fuck off.
Can I have my Robux back?
No.
Damn it.
I promise I'll never do it again.
I'll never play 9/11 simulator again, I promise.
It would be more like I'll never make 9/11 simulator. But hey.
Hey, I never made it.
Yeah.
I'm not taking credit for that.
The GAO warns that FBI and DHS lack an overarching strategy to bring its work with gaming companies in line with the broader agency missions. Without a strategy or goals,
that's because neither one of them has a dog in that race, and they should. And really, honestly, they shouldn't.
Without strategy or goals, the agency may not be fully aware of how effective their communications are with companies or how effective their information sharing mechanisms serve the agency's overall missions, the GAO says. The report ends with the recommendations that both agencies develop such a strategy, a recommendation that the DHS concurs with, providing an estimated completion of June 28th of this year.
Okay. Back to what Anubis just said. You're both right and wrong, my friend. You are right in that parents can be charged. You were wrong in the timing. This wasn't a recent thing. This is actually part of English common law and has been the law here in the United States from word go. Because what we did is we adopted English common law, pending our own legislatures codifying them into law.
And I cannot believe.
But yes, that's actually effective control on population. If you want to try that.
And I can't believe I am about to agree with Hassan of all people.
Hassan Piker.
Yes, I cannot believe I'm about to agree with him. All I can think of is the awful track record of the FBI when it comes to identifying extremism. Hassan Piker, a popular Twitch streamer who often streams while playing video games under the handle Hassan Abai, says of the mechanisms. They're much better at finding vulnerable teenagers with mental disabilities to take advantage of.
Yes, there is that. There's
Yeah.
some other things here too. The FBI is also really good at implanting people into organizations that might not have the best interests of what the FBI, what the deep state thinks is at heart, and then radicalizing them themselves so they have somebody to arrest.
Yeah, and a broken
It
clock's
reminds
correct
me-
every once in a while.
It reminds me of the computer in the paranoia role playing game, who is so thoroughly paranoid. It sent troubleshooters out to go find the commies, and when they didn't find any, they started the commies just so the computer they could snitch on one another, and yeah. So they'd actually have commies to make reports on. The FBI works in exactly the same way. Friend computer, who is a friend computer, the role of friend computer is taken by whatever monarch is at the head of the FBI, and all the people assigned to the tasks are people that have to make shit up in order to not get fired. The only real difference is that the computer, if it doesn't get what it wants, will just execute the clone. Anyway, enough of the 1980s references.
Anyway, the GAO's investigation, which covers September 2022 to January 2024, was undertaken at the request of the House Homeland Security Committee, which asked the government auditor to examine domestic violent extremist use of gaming platforms and social media. While there is no federal law that criminalizes, this is the critical bit. While there is no federal law that criminalizes domestic violent extremism as a category of crime, since 2019, the U.S. government has employed 5 domestic terrorism threat categories. These are defined by the FBI and HDS as racially, ethnically motivated violent extremism, anti-government, anti-authority violent extremism, animal rights or environmental violent extremism, abortion-related violent extremism, and all other domestic terror threats.
How broad is that shit?
Very broad. The GAO also follows pressure from Congress to top gaming companies to crack down on extremist content. Since last March, Senate Judiciary Committee Chair Dick Durbin, Dick from Illinois, sent letters to gaming companies Valve, Activision Blizzard, Epic Games, Riot Games, Roblox Corp, and Take-Two Interactive, demanding they take actions to police gamers.
Why?
Quote,
There's a reason.
Yeah.
People bug me because people keep bugging me because I don't do the multiplayer in these games or in any game if I can avoid it. And then they want to know why I won't. And here is a point. And this is a point. It's this shit right here that I don't like dealing with people while I'm trying to play a game. Or at least those that are not physically present in the apartment with me.
Quote,
people who can't get comfortable with talking shit and not getting punched.
quote, unlike traditional social media companies, which in recent years have developed public-facing policies addressing extremism, created trust in public safety teams, and released transparency reports, online gaming platforms generally have not utilized these tools, Durbin wrote in a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland. In the letter, Durbin requested a briefing from the Justice Department on what channels exist for the DOJ and the online video game industry to communicate and coordinate on the threat of online games by extremists and other malicious actors.
See, here's other malicious actors. That can be defined as everybody that's ever played a video game. And we had this conversation way back in the day when we were ragging on that lawsuit from Digital Homicide. Anybody that ever heard of a video game or even thought that video games might exist, anybody that ever seen a commercial for one, so on and so on and so forth, they could all be held accountable for billions of dollars by Digital Homicide under that definition. And worst, we at that time actually did the math, and there's a village that time forgot in Siberia, and 3 people from a tribe in fucking sub-Saharan Africa that would be spared this lawsuit. The rest of us had better open up our wallets and find billions of dollars there. This is exactly the same thing, only with teeth.
Yeah, other malicious actors refers to malicious actors who are not the Department of Justice, because the government hates competition.
Well, it could be literally anybody. Anybody that it could be, hell, it could be all of us, because we're sitting here criticizing this particular issue.
And when we think of malicious actors, we also include.
Oh no, Dick De Wit's going to blacklist us.
Oh yeah. No, it's Dick De Witless. Get it straight.
Well, I think he's
going to use his name, at least get it right.
Well, I think he's a small fry compared to what's further down the road.
It doesn't matter. We have his name, and we're free to corrupt it as we see fit.
Yeah.
Dick De Witless.
Wick Dickless.
Ooh.
Dickless.
All right.
And he's already got one hand ready on the fire alarm.
Yeah. Right, I actually need to head, guys, so I'll catch you guys later.
All right,
Yep.
Mr. Vaughn.
All right.
Don't forget to do the clippings.
I never do.
Good.
Wait, how are we supposed to interpret that?
Yeah, guys.
We let Vaughn do that. That's part of his job. All right, we should actually be wrapping this up here soon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's been going on a bit.
Yeah. We've been going on for about an hour now, so we will save the rest of this for the rest of the story.
Which is a video he will make all by his little lonesome.
I need to consider getting a B crew together.
Well, that'll be fun. All right, guys, don't forget to do all the YouTube things. So like, to comment, to subscribe, share with everyone, whether you know them or not.
And beware, the tax man cometh.
Hello, folks. This is Morgan Freeman. This concludes our broadcast day. I'm Morgan Freeman. Good night.